How California's Senate candidates want to transform the Supreme Court. It's been just over a year since the Supreme Court overturned the landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade decision, allowing states to once again outlaw abortion. The decision has thrust the conservative Supreme Court into the cauldron of the 2024 election, along with its rulings invalidating affirmative action programs, climate protections, gun control laws, and the Biden administration's student loan forgiveness policy. Revelations of questionable ethical behavior by some justices have further exacerbated the growing public distaste for the nation's highest court, polls show, especially among Democratic and independent voters. None of this has been lost on the three top candidates running to replace retiring California Senator Dianne Feinstein. The View from Sacramento. Sign up for the California Politics newsletter to get exclusive analysis from our reporters. Enter email address. You may occasionally receive promotional content from the Los Angeles Times. Not only have Democratic Representatives Adam B. Schiff, Barbara Lee, and Katie Porter all endorsed instituting more stringent codes of conduct for justices, but the three also want Supreme Court justices to be bound by 18-year term limits of active service. They also support expanding the court from 9 justices to 13, a move that been met with far less enthusiasm by other Democrats, including President Biden, Senator Majority Leader Charles E. Schumer, and the state's other senator, Alex Padilla. While the political harmony among Lee, Porter, and Schiff may not be surprising in a state as left-leaning as California, it does provide a preview of what's to come in the presidential race and congressional elections, where Supreme Court expansion and other efforts to rein in its power will be top priorities for liberal activist groups and Democratic voters. As practical policy, I think the proposals are less important, said Charles Franklin, director of the Marquette University Law School poll, which surveys opinions about the court. They're more important for sending signals to your voters that you're mad as hell about the court. And here's something you can at least imagine doing. I will point out that adding 4 more members is a lot more fun if you're a Democrat, as long as Biden says yes. It becomes a lot less fun if Donald Trump is elected next year. In the spring, Demand Justice, an organization devoted to court reform and expansion, helped organize a statewide bus tour that included appearances with Lee, Schiff, and Porter, who have all put their names to legislation that would expand the court to 13 justices. The tour highlighted as well some of the behavior of justices, including Samuel A. Alito Jr. and Clarence Thomas, who both have been the subject of a litany of stories about their finances and vacations they took with wealthy individuals. Reporters at ProPublica found that real estate tycoon Harlan Crow had paid for Thomas's teenage grandnephew to go to a private boarding school. Crow also bought Thomas's mother's home. In Alito's case, ProPublica reported that the justice didn't disclose a vacation to Alaska he took with billionaire Paul Singer, who has on multiple occasions had business before the court. In recent years, Senate Democrats have introduced bills to institute a code of ethics and to create a recusal standard for justices and stronger disclosure rules around travel. Last month, bills including some of these changes were advanced by the Senate Judiciary Committee, even though it's unclear if the full Senate will take up the legislation. A protester holds up a sign with pictures of Supreme Court Justices Clarence Thomas, Brett M. Kavanaugh, Samuel A. Alito Jr., Amy Coney Barrett, and Neil M. Gorsuch as demonstrators protest outside of the U.S. Supreme Court on May 3, 2022, in Washington. Jacqueline Martin / Associated Press. Hopes to expand the court appear much dimmer. Just 3 senators are sponsoring legislation to expand the court. Even Padilla, who supports reform, has been unwilling to endorse expanding the court. Americans are losing faith in the legitimacy of the Supreme Court when, in decision after decision, the right-wing majority is rolling back fundamental rights, Padilla, who sits on the Judiciary Committee, told The Times in a written statement. I'm working with my colleagues on the Senate Judiciary Committee on proposals to structurally reform and rebalance the court. And we are also holding hearings on one of the most urgent needs, an enforceable code of ethics for the court to help regain public trust. Former Hillary